This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, Queenstown Central Business District is awash with bright orange road cones as many large-scale projects are underway. Around 60 motor scooter enthusiasts take part in a rally held in central Otago over the weekend. And click Go the Shears for many merino sheep in Alexandra at the National Merino Shearing Championships. Tēnā koutou katoa, ngā mihi o te ahiahi nei, kia ora, I'm Simon Anderson. Queenstown CBD has never been in such a state of flux. The Queenstown Lakes District Council says its contractors are making up for lost time from level 4 restrictions as workers press on with a swag of construction projects around the town centre.
Queenstown is currently a sea of orange cones with multiple big-ticket projects underway.
Obviously quite a lot happening around the town centre with Kahanui Atahuna, our alliance. While they're independent projects, they're all quite interrelated in that we've got Lakeview and then we've got services providing water and wastewater infrastructure to Lakeview. Then we've got the street upgrade works. And as of yesterday, we kicked off work on stage 1 of the arterials project, linking State Highway 6A with Gorge Road, and really creating that space in the town centre for the public transport interchange on Stanley Street.
Work on the Brecon Street part of the town centre upgrade started last week, although one of the first jobs, to fell 5 large eucalyptus trees, has been put on hold for an ecological report to be prepared after local arborists sparked a public outcry. QLDC Property and Infrastructure General Manager Peter Hansby says the lockdown caused some delays, but the council's working with contractors to keep up the momentum and hit their targets before the peak summer trading season arrives.
We're well set up to deliver this package of work, and so taking advantage of that and bringing any other components into it, we're pretty keen to get quite a bit of work done in one hit.
The alliance between the government, council, mana whenua and the New Zealand Transport Agency Waka Kotahi was officially named Kahuanui Atahuna in July, and Hansby says they're being funded by a combination of council and government shovel-ready COVID-19 recovery funding.
You know, it's quite a lot of different pieces of infrastructure that are all coming together at the same time, and you know, it's difficult getting around town, but we took the view that get in, go hard and get it all done in one hit.
Construction of the first stage of the town centre arterial road began last week, with work on a new stormwater line on Suburb Street. The work will be completed in 50-metre sections, taking about 3 months. The whole first stage project is expected to take 3 years to complete. The QLDC says these projects are set to pause over the Christmas and New Year periods. In Queenstown, The South Today.
A pedestrian has been seriously injured following an alleged hit and run in South Dunedin last night. Police say the incident happened in Helena Street at around 7:40 p.m. The victim was taken to Dunedin Hospital in a serious condition after being hit by a vehicle which left the scene. Police say 2 men were later arrested and taken into custody. About 60 riders took part in this year's annual motor scooter rally in Wanaka over the weekend. Rally convener Paul Van Klink organised the 90-kilometre long day trip for the classic bikes with a backup vehicle ready to pick up any breakdowns.
About 60 motor scooters took part in this year's annual Upper Clutha Scooter Hooter Rally in Wanaka on Saturday. Now in its 10th year, the event is organised by local fish and game ranger Paul Van Klink, who always makes an effort to plan an engaging and challenging tour visiting local points of interest.
A long ride, gravel, we've got forwards, we've got tracks, dual purpose tracks we're going to be riding on. We've got an amazing spot for lunch, and we've got a couple of places of interest to go and visit as well.
The event attracts participants from across the South Island, almost exclusively riding classic commuter scooters from the 60s, 70s and 80s.
He organises a good ride, interesting scenery around the area and events through the day.
Dad bought us this year.
Oh, you haven't come before?
No, first year for the 10th anniversary. We finally got the invite.
This year's ride was 90 kilometres and with only one petrol station along the way. And Van Klink says a lot of planning goes into making the ride an enjoyable one.
Safety's first. We've got a traffic management plan in place. We've got a backup vehicle. We can only put 3 bikes on that. We always have breakdowns, so there's quite a bit to think about on the ride today. Yeah.
In Wanaka, the South Today.
Further steps are being taken towards making Stewart Island predator-free, with a new trust being formed to lead the project. Called Te Puka Rakiura, the trust is being established as a legal entity for an already existing project called Predator-Free Rakiura. It's estimated it could cost between $2 and $5 million to merely create a plan on how to eliminate predators from the 170,000 hectare island. Actually exterminating the pests could cost up to $100 million. This year's Merino Shears event drew more than 130 competitors to Alexandra on Friday and Saturday. But COVID-19 concerns meant shearers and wool handlers had to compete on different days.
The annual Merino Shears were held in Alexandra on Friday and Saturday, with 65 shearers and 70 wool handlers competing for various titles. One of the wool classes was Graham Bell, who was a life member of the Merino Shearing Society, having been involved with the event since it began 60 years ago in 1961.
It must have hit me as imagination as a wee kid, because I used to see the shearers roll up on their Mark II Zephyrs and utes and that, and I used to think, older utes, and I used to think, gosh, I want to be like that too one day. And then I used to wag school every year to participate as a helper, and then I was encouraged by those people to get involved with the industry, which I did.
Local shearer Stacey Tahuia says there's quite a difference between shearing the soft-wooled merinos compared to other breeds of sheep.
Merinos have a lot looser skin, the wool's a lot finer, and so you need special combs for the merinos compared to a crossbred. And because they're leaner, they hold totally different body shape, so you need to hold them differently.
The annual event was cancelled due to COVID-19 last year, and New Zealand Merino Shearing Championships President Greg Stewart says this year saw them having to hold wool handling and shearing on separate days due to the need for social distancing.
This year the whole thing's been turned upside down by this COVID, and we've changed the format where we're running all the wool handling today on Friday, right through to the prize giving, and then the competitors for that they'll be gone tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll move all the shearers in and we'll do all the shearing separate.
COVID-19 concerns meant that spectators were excluded from this year's event. In Alexandra, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, continued COVID-19 restrictions are threatening one Dunedin event, while one in Queenstown is going ahead. And we catch up with Dunedin rally driver Emma Gilmore in London. Ka kite a koe.
Inside are all sorts of innovations from all over China.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Your love, 15 Hi, my name's Matt and I'm the Dines Group CEO. Dines is a company that's focused on selling logistics solutions to its customers. We're passionate about selling efficiency and we've been selling efficiency for over 50 years now.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
No mai anō, welcome back. Organisers behind next month's St Andrew's Day celebrations in Dunedin's Octagon say the event is likely to be cancelled if the South Island remains at alert level 2. Organiser Simon Veer says an official decision will be made this week. St Andrew's Day has been marked in Dunedin for more than 10 years with a celebration of Scottish culture in the Octagon. Veer says that a celebration this year won't hurt too much because the event is always at risk of being cancelled due to weather conditions. However, in Queenstown, plans for next month's marathon are proceeding as normal, despite no indication that the South will be at alert level 1 by then. Organisers say they are positive that the alert level will drop to 1 in the time for the marathon, which is set for the 20th of November. The annual run is expected to attract more than 12,000 participants and inject more than $10 million into the local economy. Most of the distance categories for this year's marathon have already sold out. Dunedin rally driver Emma Gilmore is one of thousands of New Zealanders entering the draw for a spot in managed isolation quarantine in New Zealand. In August, Gilmore competed in the extreme e-race event in Greenland with some of the world's top rally drivers and is now, like so many other Kiwis, hoping to fly home by Christmas.
This August, Dunedin's Emma Gilmore swapped her customary Suzuki Swift for an electric racing car as part of the Veloce racing team. She drove in the Arctic leg of the Extreme E-Racing series and had a spot in managed isolation quarantine booked, but chose to give it up in early September.
I had an MIQ space booked for the 4th of September, and that was just after I did my first round for me in the Extreme E series in Greenland. But I was invited to come back and race in the 4th round, which is in Sardinia near the end of October. So if I had gone back to my original MIQ booking, I would have spent 2 weeks in a hotel room, and lockdown had happened in Auckland in that time, or in New Zealand, sorry, and I would have probably had maybe 2 weeks of freedom before I would have been getting back on a plane and flying back over here. So I made the decision to give it up, and sadly it doesn't mean that you can just move it to another time. You actually just give it back.
Like many thousands of New Zealanders around the globe, she's now in what many are calling the MIQ lottery, where people wanting a space in a New Zealand managed isolation facility have to register their interest.
So I think to have a shot at it, you're looking to be, you need to be in those first few thousand, and I think the percentage of getting a room, your chances are about 1 in 5. So maybe I have to do 5 lotteries to finally get my space, fingers crossed.
In her life away from motor racing, she runs her own business, Gilmore Motors, near the Oval in Dunedin. She thanks her team for holding the fort and says they're doing a top job.
And I'm also very lucky that the team at work at Gilmore Motor Suzuki are doing such a great job. So I think if I'd told them when I first left that I was going to be away for, well, maybe until next year, I think they would have all panicked, but they're doing an amazing job. And initially I was meant to be away for 2 months, and I mean, that's a big ask for a team, but they've all stepped up and they're doing a great job. So they won't know what to do with me when I come back. I might just have to stay away. So they're doing a great job, and it takes a lot of the pressure off me, that's for sure.
Emma Gilmore says she really feels for the many Kiwis who are desperate to return home to see sick relatives or to attend tangi or funerals.
I think it's really hard for a lot of people. There's people that are wanting to get home to see dying relatives, to spend time with people, and it just seems very cruel to not have any sort of special privileges on that for that kind of scenario. And I think the hardest thing is the not knowing. If you knew that if the bookings were open for the next 6 months and you could book for space in 4 months' time, well, at least you know what you're working towards and you know that you can get home, albeit in 4 months' time. But the fact that you can't book anything, I think that's probably the hardest thing for people to, for our mental health is probably the hardest thing, that you're just waiting for these weekly lotteries and hoping that your number comes up.
Gilmore's next race in the Extreme E Series is scheduled for October 24th and 25th in Sardinia, Italy. In Dunedin, the South Today.
After the break on the South Today, there's something in the water for Alexandra residents who are being promised improved water by Christmas. And we have a look at your weather for the start of the working week. Hei koko ake nei.
Inside are all sorts of innovations from all over China.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
What have you got? Okay. Chicks World, party time, excellent.
Love it!
Chicks World. Chicks World.
Right.
Hoki mai no. Alexandra residents can expect to see an improved quality in their water supply by next Christmas. This comes almost 5 years after the Central Otago District Council first agreed to improve treatment and piping of the local tap water. The council has awarded an almost $4 million contract for supply and the installation of a water treatment plant for the Lake Dunstan water supply. Due to international supply issues, parts of the treatment plant are expected to take 9 months to arrive from Germany and then more than 6 months to install and commission. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. Queenstown's central business district is awash with bright orange road cones as many large-scale projects are underway. Around 60 motor scooter enthusiasts took part in a rally held in central Otago over the weekend. And click went the shears for many merino sheep in Alexandra at the National Merino Shearing Championships. And now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, we welcome Craig Page. Kia ora, Craig.
Simon. How are you?
Good.
Good over here. COVID announcement this afternoon, of course, from the government. It's going to see Auckland begin a phased end to its COVID restrictions over coming weeks, which is good news for them, I guess. Bubbles allowed to mix slowly. Yeah, business is reopening again. Preschool's open and they're hopeful to have people back at school once the school holidays end in a couple of weeks' time, so I'm sure the teachers will be delighted about that. But for the South, we're going to remain in level 2 for the time being. A limit on the 100 people caps for hospitality venues has been lifted, so that'll help a lot of those businesses as well. We talked to some of the key players around the region, and naturally they're still a bit disappointed that we remain in level 2. It's been a year since we've had a case down this part of the world, so I guess there's some, they've got some cause for that. Jacinda Ardern's acknowledged the frustration in the South, but really quick to point out just how quick this can spread, and of course Hamilton this week is a good case in point in that respect. Right. So fingers crossed, but good to see things are starting to move in the right direction anyway. Now we talked to a Milton man who's stumbled across what he thinks could be a 66 million year old meteorite. Yes, there's lots of things found down South Otago apparently. He's working at a mine in South Otago and discovered it there. He does have a background in geology, so he does kind of know what he's talking about, which is good news. The University of Otago is analysing the sample at the moment, so they're going to let him know in the next week or so about that. They do think it appears to be a meteorite though, which is quite cool. How old, I don't know. And if it is proved to be a meteorite, it won't be only the 10th that's been found in New Zealand, so quite remarkable. Could be worth over $1 million as well, apparently, so we shall see. Travel pages, we head to the vineyards of North Canterbury, which is, got a huge variety of wines on offer there apparently. More of a beer man myself, surprisingly. Central Otago, I guess, and Mulberry get the big shout out for wines, but this is really taking off, and a good place to go, so well worth a read. And just finally with sport, we've got the new All Black squad named, which is heading on to the Northern Tour. Some old faces welcome back, which is including Shannon Frizzell from the Highlanders, and a bolter, and 20-year-old Taranaki lock Josh Lord. He's come from nowhere, so he'll be going.
Interesting. Yeah,
and just final we'll catch up with Otago cricketer Jacob Duffy, who may have been poised to make his one-day cricket debut in Pakistan until things went pear-shaped over there. He gets out of MIQ on Wednesday after his out of Auckland there. He talks about all the security concerns over there and the issues that led up to them aborting the tour. And I guess the relief in finally being able to leave that country. So it's a good story. That's us.
Thanks, Craig.
Thank you.
And time now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the rather gothic southern view, Knox Church on a grey day. Looking at the situation, a few days of northeasterly airflow lie ahead with fresh winds and drizzle patches along the Otago coast, but bringing milder, clearer weather in Southland. Heading over to the northwest of the South Island, raining in both centres, Greymouth reaching 15, Westport 16 degrees. And it's similar up top, Nelson on 16, Blenheim 17 degrees, raining both places here too, perhaps a little lighter in Blenheim. Over to Canterbury, it's a wet 13 degrees in Kaikoura and Christchurch. Ashburton escapes the rain, instead an overcast day on 15. Looking at the southern towns, the Catlins can expect fresh northeasterlies with a risk of showers and a high of 14 degrees. Drier in Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore, who are all in for moderate northeasterlies with some cloud and temperatures peaking around 15 or 16. Further westwards to the Central Lakes, where Wanaka, Queenstown and Alexandra and Te Anau can expect moderate northerlies and a few showers and highs between 15 and 17 degrees. Looking at the northern towns along the coast, Timaru and Timaru are in for fresh northeasterlies with drizzle and a high of 13 degrees. It'll be warmer and drier inland, with Twizel and Damalama expecting moderate northerlies and just a few showers and highs of 16. In Dunedin, you can expect showers with northeasterlies tonight and an overnight low of 8 degrees. It should be overcast and cool tomorrow with fresh to strong breezy northeasterlies, some drizzle patches or light spitty showers at times, but dry periods too, with a high of 12 and an overnight low of 10. And you can expect similar weather on Wednesday with a high of 13 and a low of 10 degrees. And Invercargill should be fine tonight with an overnight low of 7 degrees. It'll be fine tomorrow with high cloud and moderate mild northeasterly winds bringing a high of 14 and a low of 8. And you can expect similar weather on Wednesday with a high of 16 and a low of 9 degrees. And that's the news this Monday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and you can follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Like and subscribe to be notified of that southern news as it happens. Nō reira, kia pai te pō, ka ki tāno.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.